Thank you very much. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Well, I'm from Glasgow. I'm Gerardo. And I'm going to talk about the Klopima project. So, Klopima project focuses on clothes, essentially. We're working with clothes. And that involves the manipulation, interaction, perception of clothes. And especially, it's a difficult task, handling clothes, because it can take different forms, different configurations. And we also perform recognition. That's a part of the partner's work. And planning, motion planning of the clothes. We also have specialized grippers for handling these fabrics, textiles. And well, this is the Klopima consortium in Greece, Prague, Genoa, ourselves, and our industrial partner based in Prague. So, well, the pipeline or the task of the whole project is to deliver to the robot a piece of, well, a heap of garments. From that garment, the robot has to pick it up, then unfold it, perform certain manipulation, interactions, what usually is unfolding, put it on the table, lay it down, flatten a little bit, and then start folding the cloth. And afterwards, recognizing the type of the garment, and stack it accordingly to their classification, well, the type of the garment, whether it's a short, t-shirt, pants, etc. So our work in Glasgow is about the eyes of the robot, the binocular system on top of the robot. And well, this system is a low-cost, off-the-shelf system. And as you can see, we are using consumer cameras as they can provide, in order to provide high-resolution images for 3D mapping and range sensing. And also, those cameras are able to provide low-resolution imaging for gaze control and feature extraction. The whole Klopima stack is developed on the ROS and in Ubuntu, so it's freely available as part of the outcomes of the project. So, well, in order to integrate the robot head into the robot, well, we perform the standard OpenCV calibration algorithm, and also hand-eye calibration to integrate both cameras with respect to the whole kinematic chain of the robot. So as you can see here, this is the reconstructed scene as observed from the cameras. And well, part of the results of the calibration, the root mean square error of the reconstruction with respect to a ground truth object is on the on sub-millimeter accuracy. So it's quite okay. So in order to obtain this nice, in order to obtain this point cloud of the clothes, we are using our stereo matching that has been developed over 20 years in Glasgow. So we take a pair of images, color images. Those are 16 megapixel images. At the beginning of the project, it was taking 20 minutes. And that's not realistic for any robotic application. But until now, so far we have managed to reduce that time to 4 seconds using GPU programming. And as you can see on the video, well, the overall process takes around 5-6 seconds to send the images, receive the images, match the images, and then send the disparity mask for point cloud computation. So, well, what's the advantage of having this sophisticated stereo matching and using high resolution images? Well, you can get a very nice range maps and point clouds, very high detail. So as you can see here, this is a piece of towel, and you can see the scenes on the towel. And that's something you cannot get from the Kinect, unless you sample and you use Kinect Fusion, as other researchers have been using. So, well, this is another example. As you can see, the surface topology of the towel is observed. Well, it's quite good. Well, the little bumps on the towel, those are the threads. So usually the marcher fails to find a disparity between these little threads, and they are taken as occlusions. Here's another example of a backpack, still the formable object or cloth. And as you can see here, you can get the stitches, seams, and even the print on the backpack. So it's a highly detailed range map that can be used for perception and to extract features, useful features for interacting and interpreting what is observed. So as part of the project, we have compiled a data set of 80 stereo pair images of 16 different garments. Each of them have 5 different configurations. And well, within this data set, we provide the images, the stereo pair images, plus the disparity maps, and the range maps for benchmarking, and it's freely available to download. So as part of the interpretation of the surface topology of the cloth, we have developed in Glasgow a geometry-based feature to find grasping candidates and also to describe wrinkles for flattening tasks. So essentially, that's the overall process. We use surface curvatures, a shape index, to classify the surface topology, and then from that we describe wrinkles. As you can see here, we are using the triplex matching technique. So that means following the intersection of surface or specific surface types of zero crossings, we find the contour of a wrinkle, and also from the shape index we can use the bridge of the wrinkle. And that triple matching can be used in 2 ways. One is for grasping, so we can select the aperture of the gripper and also how much it has to go down in order to successfully grasp it. And well, on the left you can see a couple of examples. So, video showing the grasping. So, well, this video is going to show the whole pipeline of the RoboHead. Part of the RoboHead is, well, the camera should be perched on a point specific to the scene. Then from that, images are sent to our stereo matcher, GPU stereo matcher. That's an example of the whole robot integrated, the point cloud integrated with the overall kinematic chain in Arbis in ROS. So, well, the cameras merge. They start the point cloud computation. And that's the scene as observed from the camera. So we extract the surface types, then describe the garment in terms of surface topology of the contours and ridges, and from there we detect a grasping candidate. And that grasping candidate contains the normal orientation plus and the direction. So, well, the robot is going and grasping. There's a cooling problem there. The robot should pick it up and then hold it there, but there's a timer going there, so the robot drops it. But it's fine. And finally, flattening a piece of fabric. It's the same process. We filter the range map or the point cloud. From that, we classify the surface types, describe the wrinkles, and then we extract, well, we find an action point where to pull. And as you can see here, this is the detected wrinkle. We are using a heuristic-based approach. So we are taking the longest wrinkle observed. And in that case, that's a failure case. The robot, instead of flattening the cloth, it just makes it worse. But it's able to recover. So as part of this heuristic, it converges to the optimal solution. And also I think the next one is much better. So, well, in order to know how much we need to pull to flatten the cloth, we compute the geodesic distance from the action point to the opposite corner. So the geodesic distance extracted, that's how much we need to pull. Yeah. So, I think that's the final iteration. So as part of future work, we are planning to use reinforcement learning to optimize this flattening, this flattening process. And also we want to incorporate visual servoing into the process. So as part of the visual servoing, we have developed something called edge labeling technique. So here, this is using just 6 pictures for pulse estimation. What we want to do is to find the location of the gripper, and specifically the tip of the gripper. So that's the one that's going to grasp cloth. And one of the problems is that, especially with our Greek partners, they are doing unfolding using gravity. So at the moment the cloth is hanging, if there's air, if there's some environment changes, the cloth just flips around. So you need to have visual servoing in order to, well, visual feedback in order to successfully grasp it, and not just go blind whether it's doing it correctly. So for that we have used an hexagon pattern sampling. So we sample that hexagon pattern on the edges of the gripper. And from there we can estimate, and then we group those hexagon patterns as a hierarchy. And we are using up to 3 levels of combination. So here, that's an example of the pulse estimation. And as you can see, the edges are very well defined. And that can be used for visual servoing. And this is another example of using the third layer of the hierarchy. So, well, that's me. Those are the publications that have been the outcomes of the project. Any questions? Thank you very much.
Problem with stereo is when you have homogeneous areas.
Yes.
And then you don't get depths. So how does your algorithm perform when you have, let's say, a homogeneous colored piece of clothes which is maybe very fine structure? Can you talk a bit about the limits of your approach there? Or maybe there are none?
Well, of course, there are limitations. But as we are using high resolution images, our matcher, that it's the matcher is based on an image pyramid. So as you go down in the pyramid, it's able to resolve these small details, even if the cloth it's the same pattern. It doesn't have any color. It's able. Actually, I have an example for that. Yeah, for example, this one. It's completely white, but the texture is able to. Based on the texture, we are able to compute that next one. Fortunately, I don't have a bigger example. But yeah, it's fairly okay.
But the texture is also repetitive, so it's also not easy.
But it's local.
Yeah, okay.
It's looking at local matches, so it's fine. If you want, we can discuss it later.
Am I right in understanding it's partly due to the resolution of the cameras that you're using?
And also the resolution of the camera. So it's 16 megapixel images. Even if you zoom, for example, that one, there's the detail you can get from a very low matches is quite high in order to resolve the spark in them.
Any further questions?
I think you mentioned something about the ground truth, but I didn't get, how did you get the ground truth on which?
Well, for those experiments, essentially the OpenCV calibration target, we sample it.
Oh, you were not talking about the ground truth of the reconstructed object? Or, yeah.
Yeah, it's still reconstructed.
On cloth?
On the cloth, no, that's
what I didn't get, okay.
Yeah, no, it's difficult to get a ground truth from
That's what I
clothes.
That's right.
Any further questions before coffee? I think we have one question, which is a request from Frank. Does anyone have a video adapter for which particular?
It's iPad to VGA.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So we have a solution. Okay, then it is time for coffee. Thank you.